Welcome in. Round 3 of week 5 of season 23 of Cosmic Crucible. We're up against Nemesis again. I think I faced Nemesis 2 weeks ago. I won that one. This one, I dropped an extra attack because I fell into a bit of a trap here. Mostly because I'm not used to sacking a Nihilus, and there's a little trap here that was cool. So if I lose to that, then kudos to Nemesis. But otherwise, it was fairly clean. So we have Blue Marvel, Mephisto, Emma X, OG Emma, and Thanos in room 1. Then we have full New Mutants in 2. Room 3 is Symbiote 6, Annihilus with Thanos, and we have a Quicksilver instead of Venom. Then we have Starjammers without Lalandra. Then we have a Phoenix Force comp with Breaker and Mummy, and finally we have just full Accursed. Pretty big juggernaut here. So that means Exalted for offense, which is bad news for me. So I'm not entirely sure where Nemesis is going to drop to with my defense, but we'll find out. So let's get into the matches. Starting with stage 1. So yeah, kind of overkilled this. Overall, the defense that Nemesis has isn't that crazy, so I was able to overkill everything, which is kind of why it's bad that I dropped that one random attack that we'll talk about soon. But otherwise, this was, I don't think I even needed Mephisto for this. A different Kahori comp probably would have done something similar, but I kind of had him spare, so why not get him up to a bunch of stacks real quick. So, you know, Thunderstrike, Blastar here to stop Mephisto. They also stop Speed Bar, which is why I can bring APOC, because without APOC to counter Emma, the speeds might get a little weird, but also if you bring APOC versus Blue Marvel without Speed Bar stop, then he will go very fast because of his passive. So there's a couple of traps that have been, set here that, at least here, we didn't fall into them because, just for folks to forget, where is it? Where is it? I clearly missed it. Oh, there we go. On spawn, if it's charged, any enemy has charged fill speed bar by 50%. So this guy is charged. This guy gets a charge after spawn, so this doesn't count, but this is on spawn. So without these two here, this guy would go really fast. So for example, if you try to bring like Fantastic Four, Apocalypse, and something else to kill them, then this guy's gonna go fast and it could blow up your attack. So anyway, we get one basic here. Also, the fact that Emma is here, not giving speed stat to Blastar, I wasn't really sure how the turn order would play out, but this is really helpful for that kind of thing. So, just sprinkling damage around to make sure that when I do go, it'll blow everyone up, although I guess technically the first basic was wasted on him because he's just going to get obliterated anyway by the ultimate, because he's going to be just too low health to survive. Did one more basic here, did not expect it to kill him, but it did. Then I did one more basic here, almost pushed him, which would have maybe taken some efficiency, but I've actually got a ton of barrier. It just would have taken my offense up away, which would have sucked. Then I just did one more basic into here, because I didn't want to touch Thanos. I guess, no, that was correct. And then we just let it rip. So I didn't talk about this. I could have let it rip at 4, but what I was worried about, let me see if I was right to be worried about this. Okay, it's 3 or more. I couldn't remember if you need 4 or 5 to remove the death proof, basically, so I probably could have just let it rip at 4, but I played it a little safe, so maybe, you know, lost a little bit of efficiency with the extra turns there, but hopefully that doesn't cost me. But otherwise, you know, fairly easy as long as you avoid the trap with Emma and Blue Marvel. Now, going into full New Mutants, this was just also overkill. I had Odin spare. Probably don't need him here. I'm also still trying to figure out how to best play this matchup, but I don't know how much I can control this because there's just some annoying health threshold things. I should have played this differently and it would have been maybe a little bit more efficient, but you'll see now. So Odin goes first because the contagion goes on Cannonball, so that makes him, I think he goes, oh, come on, I always go the wrong way. What is he now? Ignore this, it's bugged. 117, yes, it's pretty slow. So anyway, here I figured I would trauma ability block Wolfsbane, and then I would with Breaker's special, and then I would trauma ability block this guy with Mr. Negative, because he also does ability block trauma. Unfortunately, and this is a first world problem, we do this, then we do a basic here. This swipe pushed Warlock, and now he's got evades. And Mr. Negative's special is not unavoidable. It can be dodged, so I cannot ability block him. So I think, in hindsight, as always, just ability block this guy, even though it's not a. This is minor efficiency stuff. If Warlock dies first, then this match will just be faster, or same with Magic, I guess. But you know, we let him go, unfortunately, or we let him ultimate. You can see it doesn't really hurt, so it's really not a big deal. It's just this fight is just going to take a bit longer. Now here I was a little surprised he didn't die, but I did make her a striker, and he also had the 2 evades, so you know that's just less damage. But boop, that was just crits from the ISO from Bullseye that killed him there. Either way, this fight is over at this point. It doesn't really matter. It's just going to take longer to kill them because we let Warlock do the ultimate and we push them at a bad time, so they get all these buffs. But even without debuffs, Scorpion hurts quite a lot. You can see all the damage that popped up there. So once we get diamonds or more diamonds on him, he's just going to obliterate everything. Then we do another swipe. Here I misplayed this as well. I needed to target Warlock here to kill him. I thought he would get a bleed on him because of the death proof, but I guess the damage ate the death proof rather than flipping it. So he didn't have a bleed, so he didn't bleed out. So that means he gets to do this, because he should have been dead. But either way, I would have needed one more turn, and this kills it. So this part didn't really cost me too much, maybe 1 health efficiency, not even that. So yeah, Dread are pretty trivially taken to mutants. There's definitely a few things you can do here that make it tricky, but then that opens up different counters. So anyway, let's move on. So stage 3. So this is a trap I fell into because I kind of autopiloted, and I'm still not used to how to properly sack an Annihilus with Thanos and all that stuff. There's so many variations of this. So what is tricky about this is, because normally you'd have a Venom here to, you know, reduce crit chance. But where I screwed up was I did not bring Rachel on purpose because I wanted to eat all the abilities from the symbiotes before Annihilus takes a turn, and then my cleanup is trivial. But because I took Rachel out, she's the one that stops. Well, so the reason why you take Rachel out is because you get the slow from Null quickly, and then their entire team goes before yours because Rachel gives immunity. The problem is Rachel also stops the assists. So by the time I realized what I'd done, because now all the assists are in play, basically someone's guaranteed to die every turn. So that's 1 energy back. That on its own is fine. The problem is I didn't pause to stop Quicksilver. So this is 1 more person that dies. Oh, 3 actually. He died to... Oh, that's why it got even worse. So yeah, so 3 people died from the Raider crit, I guess, there. So that means this guy got 3 energy, which is terrible. I didn't actually realize it's 1 more person that died. So if it was only 2, this would have been perfectly fine, but 3 people died, so I screwed myself up for the cleanup. I also got a bit unlucky with the cleanup, or, well, you'll see now what happens, because I could have also maybe avoided this, but let me see actually if that was possible. So this plays out just as normal, except because Venom isn't here, you can actually get more damage with crits, you get more vulnerables, and all that stuff. So far so good. We do this special here. So it's a lot of damage. We didn't stop Riot on the sack, so he does his ultimate, but it's fine. It's not going to kill me on its own. Then Null does that, but he's blinded. The Devourer survives, so that gives a little bit of speed bar to Annihilus. Thrasher ultimate. So Thanos died. Okay, cool. So yeah, I kind of screwed myself here because I hard focused Annihilus here to drop Rod as fast as possible, which, you know, makes sense. The problem is, though, that he is about to... One day I'll go the right way. He's primed to do his ultimate and his special, but obviously he's going to do the ultimate. Normally he's ability blocked here by Speedball, so his next turn would also be a basic, but because I did so much damage to him, I popped the Rod, which cleanses his debuffs. So now he gets to hit me. There's no offense down on him either because I haven't gotten to Eclipse's second turn yet. So he just hits me full blast here and kills most of my team, which is unfortunate. So yeah, that bad sack basically cost me 1 extra drop here, which is unfortunate. But yeah, sneaky little detail for anyone that's trying to maximize ability pulls with Immortal X-Men without really thinking which room it's in. So that was a smart move. Good news is, I mean, he's he's so low that I can clean him up easily. I think. Do I kill one more? No, I don't kill one more. So this is where I lose. So yeah, unfortunately, if like maybe one more person had survived because I'd be getting assists, I could win. But I don't know that I could beat a solo Annihilus. Sorry, solo Null, because he gets a lot of like drain and stuff. And what's his energy at? I can't see it. Anyway, that was the second attempt. So yeah, bad sack by me, and then also pushed him too hard. Had I realized, I would have actually done less damage to Annihilus. Like, I wouldn't have hit him with Daredevil at all, to then hit him with Speedball and leave him ability block for that 1 turn. And that would have been enough for me to clear it. But I thought I had 1 more turn. I didn't actually realize that I lost 3 people here. So that was also my mistake, that I didn't kind of grasp it. I thought, oh, I just lost 1 person per turn without realizing that actually Polaris died to a Raider proc, which sucks. I mean, I'm not going to show the cleanup here. It's just Null and Riot. It's pretty trivial. You can see it's pretty healthy. So moving on to stage 4 directly. Why not? So full Starjammers. Well, I say full Starjammers. Starjammers without Lilandra. So Amazing Avengers take this pretty trivially, especially with no Lilandra there. I had Breaker spare, so figured sure, why not? And because there's no taunt in play and no charges, I get to Breaker wherever I want to. So obviously you'll just go into this clump here, which is the worst, you don't want any of these people taking turns. Then I just do this to just go down the line. I probably should have hit here for the ISO and just killed him a little faster now that I'm thinking about it, but it doesn't matter. Then we do this with Julia, which hits everyone. So therefore I lost 2 people. He just barely didn't die. I don't really care about him too much though, because he's also blinded. Then I do this. Unfortunately, today Groot did revive, which gives him a bunch of health and speed up and stuff. He doesn't get the buffs because he has Disrupt, luckily, but Groot will do this and heal him up a little bit. But we still kill him, so that part doesn't matter. It's just Groot sucking away some efficiency here with turns, because he rezzed once, he rezzed twice, and I think I need 2 more. Yeah, 2 more turns to actually kill him here. Boop. Barely didn't die there, so 1 more. So yeah, lost like 3 turns of efficiency here because of Groot, but I guess Hitmonkey could be a nice other add here. There's just a little bit of efficiency risk, I guess, in that case with where Havoc decides to go, so probably the same thing, to be honest. Actually, no, he would go here. I'm overthinking it. Either way, this is fine. Let's move on. Moving on to stage 5. So yeah, this is an interesting one. Technically, I didn't need to bring I didn't need to bring Sentry here because Mummy is actually not a pre-taunt. He applies taunt on any turn where he has revive once. Actually, we can look at it right now. So yeah, so even though he has taunt here obviously right away. If you read how his passive actually works, it says on any turn, if he has revive once, and he doesn't have taunt, then he gains taunt, which means he's not an on-spawn taunt, so on-spawn he doesn't have taunt, which then means this guy, on-spawn after all characters offense, blah, 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 he applies taunt to a random protector that does not have taunt. So on-spawn, Mummy doesn't have taunt, so he gives him taunt. So actually, you do not need to bring speed bar stop here. But you still need to worry about Phoenix, because if you double tap this, then Mummy will come back, and then you have to, deal with her potentially reviving Omega Red. So that's what Sentry's here for, because he's guaranteed to ability block the Phoenix. I also wanted to play it safe because I wasn't sure if I had the damage to properly pop this team because of what happened in round 1 or 2, I forget now. 1 round I just didn't have enough damage, barely. Although having said that, oh, is boost not showing correctly? This is not showing correctly. My boost should be maxed out, so either the replay is bugged. Let's see, what does my stats say? Okay, yeah, so this display is, oh, I think this is looking at chapter 1. That's interesting, I'll have to let them know. So, but yes, as you can see, my damage stat is way higher because I have 30% damage over here. So anyway, so yeah, Sentry is just here for a guaranteed ability block on her because he's going to revive and you need to stop her. I guess I could have brought Black Cat here and it would have been exactly the same thing, but I really wanted to play it safe at least this once to make sure that I have the damage. Also, the assist from Sentry brings this guy a little bit lower, so you know it's not bad. But who did we pop? Yeah, interesting. We popped on Magneto. This guy did not die in the first turn, so yeah, still a little spooky. I could have brought, I guess, like Guardian instead, and that would have guaranteed a bunch of kills. But anyway, and now Sentry can ability block Phoenix. The fun thing about Sentry is that he's guaranteed to ability block her no matter what, even if you're not targeting her, because he ability blocks random epics and legendaries. And she is a legendary, so even if I had ability block, let's say Mummy, she would have also gotten an ability block. And then it's just, you know, running things out. Boop. And she's dead. So moving on. And finally, another accursed on defense. This one is full accursed, so I did have to deal with the speed bar because this guy is 129. If you... Actually, is he 129? I forget. He might be... You know what? Let me do this quick math. Actually, no, I can't do that right now. I forget. I think he's as fast as 129, or you need at least 129 to get ahead of him. So maybe I didn't need Captain Britain here, although that would have made this guy annoying. But anyway, had plenty left over that is fast. So I'll have to check out the math actually on Azazel. He might actually be like 128 point something, so a true 129 we get ahead of him. But anyway, no need to do math when we can just overkill. So yeah, this is unfortunately the problem with Accursed at this point, is that they've been stat crept enough where you can just kill them before they take a turn. You can plug things in to make them a little bit more resilient, but it usually doesn't really change much. Because, see, Songbird triggers the ultimate... Sorry, Songbird triggers the passive from Juggernaut. So you want a fast ultimate to undo this. So, you know, now he cleared the negative effects that I had. He's got a shit ton of resistance until this happens, and he can't lose a lot of health. So you want a fast ultimate to just basically get that out of the way. It's an anti-Mephisto thing, but then Franklin gets to go. I have him as a striker. So he pops the Juggernaut there so that taunt comes off. Almost killed him, by the way, and this is 5 diamonds, right? Like, what are his stats even like at 5 diamonds? He's an old stack. 27.9 at 5 diamonds. So he would get a lot from G21, but at this point it's not worth it. But anyway, yeah, like 2 turns he's almost dead basically, which is, you know, part of the problem. Then Jeff goes, clumps them all together. They're basically dead, and then finally Invisible Woman finishes it off. So pretty easy as long as you have stuff left over. So yeah, not a very complicated round. I just messed up that sack and dropped 1 extra attack. So there's definitely a good chance that costs me this round, because I'm pretty sure Nemesis has the tools to kill everything and only drop 1, assuming he sacks my Annihilus. So we'll have to see how that goes. Maybe I'll bamboozle him in another room and I can win on efficiency. But let's find out what happened. Alright, so looks like Nemesis struggled a little bit, so we got another win, so this should be a 2-1. I'm going to do something I usually don't do, which is I'm going to go over my enemies' attacks to kind of see what they did, and even though that's going to reveal my defense, that's fine, because I'm actually going to change it pretty significantly for next week, so I'm not too worried about revealing anything too crazy. But I did want to kind of go over the attacks to kind of talk more about the whole thing that I mentioned a lot of times, which is, you know, the whole puzzle is what matters. So room 1, I have Accursed with Super Scroll. This was probably the biggest mistake that Nemesis made in this whole plan. This is incredible overkill. Like, insane overkill. Never do this, especially because of what you're going to see next. But This can just be taken with like Fantastic Four and Captain Britain, for example, or Captain Britain and a bunch of other fast characters. Like Sus makes them more durable, but they're just so stat check these days that Captain Britain and anything semi-fast will just obliterate them. So this was just huge overkill, and the reason why is because Exalted takes this room very easily, and this is one of the spiciest defenses, and the only safe attack that I'm aware of is using Exalted. So you know, this could have been something cheaper, and then this would have just been a clean one-shot, which would have also saved Fantastic Four, Professor X, and Shadow King not so much, but this would have saved Professor X. So had Exalted been, so for example, sorry, this could have been Captain Britain, Fantastic Four, you know, maybe Songbird as well. Cool. This should have been the Exalted, and this would have been a one-shot. Then we have this because it kind of did what it was meant to do, even though it shouldn't have. Because yes, my expectation is if my enemy has Exalted on defense, then they have to use Professor X here, which means they don't have Professor X in this room. Now, I was worried about this type of attack into here because you don't need to bring... sorry, what happens here is that you don't bring Speed Bar Stop, but because Mysterio is here and Vulture and another Superior 6, you actually get to slow all of them, and you don't gain speed up because Shuri's here, but they all have slow, so your entire team gets to go before them. Now, obviously the problem here is that Phoenix Force is still very tanky, so you need to have a pretty big Superior 6 to make this work. Also, this is room 3, so assists are in my favor because they don't stop assists, but I do. Having said that, Hank and Shuri just got destroyed instantly, so it was basically a 3v5. It's just, you know, Mysterio's not going to do anything. His clones actually keep healing Omega Red. 5 Diamond Hobgoblin is pretty scary, but he didn't really do a lot of damage into my Omega Red, so they just got bled out, basically. So, so yeah, kind of glad it survived this, but it also, I could see it maybe working with a different setup. And then just easy cleanup. But yeah, this was a bit of a gamble, but this assumed Professor X is going elsewhere. So like I said, if this was Exalted, then Professor X would have just crushed this because he prevents the speed ups. You'd still need to account for Shuri's fast ability block, but there's, you know, then you bring like, what is it, Professor X, Quasar, and then whatever else you want to, and you just roll over this because Shuri and Hank aren't really going to do any significant damage. All they bring really is an ability block and some fast, slow offense down, but without speed up, that's not happening in time usually. So yeah, Professor X would have trivialized this room. Then here I'm just running full New Mutants because my expectation is I'm gonna get it's either gonna get Damoned or a Cursed Odin. Because if you bring any non-New Mutants in here, you risk just raw accursed taking this, and then you can save Odin for somewhere else, which is not what I want. Now I'm not sure why this failed. I mean, I guess I know it's a 4 Diamond Damon, and maybe the boost stats aren't high enough just yet. So the first time the right people got hit for me, and then the wrong people got hit for him in the second one, because he just ran it back, and it just worked fine. So a bit of unlucky RNG here. But otherwise, yes, New Mutants is generally my get Damoned or get Accursed Odin room. So I'm pulling that over here. Room 5 is just Annihilus Exalted, so as expected this just takes an IMX sack and then you hit it with Daring Warriors, so this is kind of what you expect to see here. And then room 6, this is a fun little room that can catch some people off guard. So Howard stops the speed bar, Emma stops speed stat, old Emma forces you to deal with less speed stat for your team. Blue Marvel is Blue Marvel, and he's fast, and Executioner is also pretty fast as well and does a lot of damage, and this is stage 6, so you know there's the HP rot to think of as well. So the whole concept of this is, you know, it's hard to get ahead of this team, and there's traps to fall into, which Nemesis fell into one, which is the only way to stop old Emma is to bring, you know, APOC or Nightcrawler, at least as plug-and-play characters, and both of them are charged. So if you don't stop speed bar, then Blue Marvel gets to go first. So can just show this one real quick, even though it's going to make the video a little bit longer. So yeah, technically Odin should be able to carry this, assuming he takes a turn. But yeah, the problem here is Blue Marvel gets to go first, not Fury. Now, even if Fury gets to go, he has no speed up to spread. But he's not going to because he lost his speed up very early because of the 50% speed bar, so he doesn't really get to go in time. Also, we popped a bunch of revives off, but see, this here is the problem, that on spawn, this guy gets charges. Now, his Nightcrawler goes, because he does get his speed up on spawn. I don't know why he tried to block Howard. He's not the biggest threat. It also was resisted because Nightcrawler doesn't really have great focus. And let's see, what is he? He is a skirmisher, as he should be, but yeah, very low stats. His focus is terrible, even with skirmisher. It's pretty crazy. So, you know, ideally you'd like to stun this guy, honestly, but I don't think there's a world where that ever lands. But then Howard gets to go. This is good because, sure, ability block on Odin doesn't matter as much. Then Executioner goes. And they're basically all dead. So Odin doesn't care about OG Emma, but it made everyone else go slow. And by the time he gets to go, because this is generally a fast team, or he has 3 people get to go before him, he just bled out because of the room rule. Now he almost got to basic, and I think that would probably win because I ran out of threats at that point. But that's also why this is in room 6, because it also assumes that you're just killing people enough for them to just bleed out before they really take a turn. There are ways. There are ways of making an attack like this work, for sure. It's just you have to account for a number of things that would then tax you differently. And then he cleaned up with Dread. This attack could have worked the first time, but I've also seen this fail as well. So this is a kind of a tricky comp. If you want to run it, it's fun. Once you get past the hurdle of whatever the trap is, this shouldn't really stump people. But it still, either way, is going to tax folks a certain way, so I like running it, for now at least, because it gives me kind of threats across the board. Because, you know, here you have to bring speed bar stop, for sure. Here you have to bring, well, you don't have to bring speed bar stop, but it's helpful, but you need speed stat bare minimum. Here you have to, you know, in theory, bring speed bar. Here you tried not to, backfired. Here you don't have to bring speed bar, but this generally has very specific counters, so this will take you know, like I said, a cursed Odin or a Daemon comp. This will take guaranteed Immortal X-Men and Daring Warriors. Everyone keeps Daring Warriors on offense these days, so you kind of want to make sure that your Nihilist comp takes Daring Warriors, because if you have something super cheap, then these Daring Warriors can float, and then your whole puzzle goes out the window. And then finally, this is just to make sure that if you kind of leave this last and you've stretched yourself thin across all the other rooms, then you might struggle to come up with a good answer to this. So that's kind of the hope here. Definitely not unbeatable. There's a lot that can take this. You just need to account for all the quirks that this room has. So yeah, that was a very quick little defense analysis thing, which I don't usually do because I don't like revealing my defense, but since I'm changing it up enough for next week, that's fine to do this week. But yeah, honestly, this is what made me want to do this, because Nemesis had all the tools to beat me, but it is a lot of just making sure you're using the right counter in every room, because then other things fall apart. So like I said, this should have been Fantastic Four Captain Britain, let's just say, off the top of my head. This should have been Exalted. This should have been Professor X with Quasar and something else, because it would have eaten it alive. And also stops the assists, which is a big thing in this room. This was fine, although got a bit unlucky with the RNG, but this was the right counter. Room 5, this is the right counter, and room 6, I think Dread needed to be first, basically, or do something else that I'm not going to talk about. So that would have been, I guess, using all of the attacks properly, that would have also been 2 dropped attacks, considering this combat cancel here, and then it would have come down to efficiency, which I think I still would have won, but it would have been a lot closer than it was. So obviously a lot of this depends on how much time people want to spend planning Crucible across all of their rooms before you do your attacks to make sure that you have the correct answers everywhere. But also, you know, it's hard to misplay stuff. But yeah, I'd say if you have Exalted on offense, do not use them on Accursed. Like, they could have been used here, they could have been used here, they could have been used here. I don't think they could have been used here. They definitely could have been used here as well. But the correct answer is this. They one-shot this very cleanly, and then all these other pieces can move to other teams. So that was a very long-winded way of saying what I usually say, which is what you're doing across all of your rooms for defense is what matters. Because you want to stretch your opponent as thin as possible across every single room and make them run out of options. So I'll stop talking now because this video is getting way too long. GG's to Nemesis, and that's a 2-1, and see you next week for week 6. See ya.